G'day and welcome to a new video. Lots to talk about today. I've got to give you an update on the back lawn from last video when I ripped it apart a bit. Also got to give you a bit of an update because this front lawn, as you can see, not looking the greatest. Now, lawn trimming and getting your edges done with a whippersnipper is something I plan on getting a bit more content up about in the future. For me, and for I think what you need to do is you just simply need to get your lawn trimmer cord vertical, all right, in any way that is comfortable for you. For some people, for me, clearly walking backwards off the grass where I can is my most comfortable position. Some people like to walk on the grass. With my Ego lawn trimmer, I used to walk forwards with that one when not standing on the grass. A Ryobi lawn trimmer that I've got, holding it up here and walking this way was the most comfortable. So it's especially easy to do that when you don't have a petrol machine and you've got a battery machine. And all you simply need to do, find the best comfortable position. It'll be hard at first, your body will need to adapt, but whichever position for you to get the lawn trimmer cord vertical and to be able to get in a position that feels good to you. Your muscles will catch up after you've done it for a little while. And that's how you get those edges nice and crispy. And it just takes practice. It takes practice greasing that groove, chopping back your current edge, and you'll get there. So my full-scale renovation on this front lawn was at the end of September, so 3.5 months ago, and I've talked a fair bit on this YouTube channel if you've watched before about the issues I had and the soil test I got done. Through December I wasn't able to keep up regular mowing. Out here it got really thick, and what happens when you don't keep up with your regular mowing is things really start to, those stolons, especially in Kaiku, start to layer on top of each other. It gets really thick, and my cylinder mower it's a heavy, mower. It's 70 kilos or so, but what can tend to happen, what I've found with that mass bore cylinder mower, is it can tend to float up on top. So even if it's set to say 20 mil, it's floating up a little bit high on top of those stolons and whatnot, and it's more so cutting it, I don't know, 25, 30. It depends on the level of thatch and growth that's in the grass at the time. So what I did last Friday, which is 4 days ago, is I came out and I cut it with the cylinder mower to about 25 mil or something like that. I then got the Ryobi Scarifier, the same thing that I did in my previous YouTube video where I thinned out my back lawn, put that Scarifier onto number 3, so pretty tall sort of setting, and pulled out a lot of material. I then was going to come across with the cylinder mower at about 20 mil, and it was really bogging and cutting in and cutting out when I was trying to mow at those heights, especially in some of the thicker areas. For example, you look at this section and there's a lot more green there than there is over here. So for whatever reason, this patch was a lot thicker and a lot more overgrown than others. So in some of these spots, I had to get my rotary mower and come through and give it a bit extra of a scalp just to be able to get through it because the cylinder was struggling a little bit. But yeah, so I did that. I got it tidied up last week and got a lot of material pulled out of it, probably about a green bin and a half or something like that for 180 square meters across these 5 sections of lawn. And then on Saturday morning, the kids were out here wanting to ride their bikes around the front lawn and whatever. And I was like, oh, you know what? Might just grab the mower. So Saturday I did a double cut in the end because they were happy and didn't fall off their bikes or anything, which made me stop. But yeah, I set it down to 18 mil. And then did a double cut to just clean it up even more, especially with some of this, dead stuff, because when you do any sort of work like that, you just end up with this these bits of crap. So anyway, today I'm raising up, or have raised up to 22 mil to give it another double cut, and I'm aiming in this recovery process to mow 3 times a week to really keep it down nice and tame, and that is just going to be the key out here, is just regular, consistent mowing. I've talked about it a lot, and I don't think enough can be said for how important it is. And if you can't mow that frequently, you're just going to have to raise your height and temper your expectations with what you can actually get done. But having said that, still very possible to have a nice lawn if you can only mow it once a week with a rotary mower. That's completely fine. You know, it's just different goals, different, you know, time commitments and that sort of thing. In terms of watering out here, we had a sprinkle of rain on Saturday afternoon. The spots where there is the most scalping done, I did repair a bare patch, or a couple of bare patches here with some of that, some of those scarifyings on last Friday, and top dressed them a bit. So there's a couple of spots that are the worst looking. I've just sprinkled a little bit of water a couple of times. Once again, we had tons of rain only a week ago, so you know, we're not desperate. The soil is still holding a lot of moisture from that still. Temperatures have been pretty good, and I'm just going to keep tracking along to see how this lawn repairs as to how much water is needed. About now, about today, and the time frame it's been since our last rain and doing this work, would have been about ready to put some sprinklers out this morning, but we're expecting up to about 15 mil of rain, I think, tomorrow. So gonna not worry too much today and get my liquid fertiliser out and give it a nice clean double cut. Completely honest and tell you that I didn't end up double cutting all 5 sections, just those first 2, which are probably the most recovered and the best to mow. These other ones here, especially on this section, just a bit washed out. Have I got this on auto properly? I don't know. But you can see here, there are some beautiful shoots of growth. This is all new growth in here, and that is just going to keep popping out of this section more and more, especially after I apply some fertiliser today. And it's just going to come back through and fill in really, really nicely. Heaps of paspalum to deal with on this nature strip, but especially down towards this end again, it was quite thick in some of these areas here, so I needed the rotary mower. I had a lot more to chop through, but you know, there is some pretty nice fuku in there. This section, not awful, so fertiliser today, hopefully a good amount of rain tomorrow. Even if it was only 5 or 6 mil would be fantastic. Another double cut Friday, cut it again over the weekend, and I'd say when I'm out here again recording a video in about 7 days time, it'll be looking fantastic. Now, you have seen me mix up the Lawn Tips spring mix a few times before on this channel, it's fair to say, so I don't need to show you that, but I will be mixing up that Lawn Tips spring mix. I'll link it in the description. If you want to see all the products I use, if you go on Instagram under a story highlight called products I use, everything is linked there. There's a great blend of fertilizers, 3-in-1, plus I'm also still doing that MP Safe K to correct my potassium deficiency out here. So yeah, gonna get that out, gonna get it across the lawn in 2 directions to make sure I get really even coverage over these annoying, awkwardly shaped sections. So we'll get that done. We can cry when it's over. Always good to get that liquid fert on there, but now it's time for one of my favourite things, working on this lawn, living at this house, mowing this back lawn. Let's get stuck into it, get it tidied up. We said forever means nothing if we don't give it up. We can cry when it's over. We can cry when it's over. a nice haircut at 22 mil there. Pretty happy with how that is looking and the recovery. Overlay here what it was looking like last week for reference. We've got that liquid fert onto it at the same time. I've got a granular fert, the Lawn Tips Dominate Mini. When was that? That was late December, so probably about 3 weeks ago. That went down, and so yeah, it's looking pretty nice. You can just see here some of these sections where it's still a little bit thin, but it's coming along really well. Put up on the screen here as well, this trench where I scalped both sides of it to allow space for that leveling rake, and then top dress to fill in those trenches. Once again, that was me who backfilled those trenches, and they've sunk down a lot over time. So anyway, the growth through there is pretty nice. Gee, this stripe where I've just set the camera up there, that's pretty bloody straight. Something I've said before as well, but these it's 20 meters across, or about 18 meters or something like that. Just holding straight stripes is difficult, which is something that helps a lot with the thin out that I did here, as well as out on the front. It really makes a difference when you are cylinder mowing, when you are trying to stop your mower from floating around on top of thick, thatchy, layered sort of grass. It really does make a difference. So the stripes are really gonna pop, especially you give it hopefully some rain tomorrow. Need some soil wetter on here soon. I'm overdue for soil wetter. I think I've actually only applied soil wetter once this entire season, when I was trying to look in a notebook before and look through my Instagram feed and think about it. So it definitely is a bit behind on certain things, but overall we've had a great amount of rain this season and it is looking quite nice. We've got people here in about 10 or 11 days time, not this weekend, the following one. I reckon the old patch of grass here is going to be shining for it. Now in terms of what's coming up out here on this lawn, I'm going to be doing another full-scale renovation in 6 weeks time, 5 or 6 weeks, at the end of Feb. So I'm going to be doing a full scalp scarify, core and top dress right at the end of the season to send this lawn into winter, into autumn and winter shining. And I've said before, I think I said it probably last video, how I want to crank a really low cut out here on this lawn. So that'll be some interesting content. If there are any sort of bits of content or things that I'm doing you want to know more about, or things in general that you'd like to see, I've got a few ideas for videos, as well as just basically showing you what I'm doing every video. Also do want to make a few sort of specialized kind of things within my area of knowledge. So yeah, if there's anything in particular you do want to see, then leave a comment and let me know. But yeah, thank you for watching the video. See you in the next one.